place are belong to us.
You're listening to Gamers Digest, a podcast where your hosts put the controllers down just long enough to talk about gaming news, rumors, and anything else they can think of. Here are your hosts, Spider-One and Mr. Factastic.
Here we are. Welcome to Gamers Digest. I am Spider-One.
I'm Mr. Factastic.
There we go.
We are introducing ourselves now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading. I wouldn't really call it a book. It's like an ebook on improving your podcast and shows, and of course, some of it contains to video podcasts, some of it contains to audio. But they say that's like the big thing is like branding and introducing yourself. So,
it's funny because we've been doing 75 shows now, and we never really, because we already knew who each other were. So I'm like, hey.
Oh well. So that's who we are. We are a gaming fan podcast. We talk about all the gaming news and rumors. Sometimes we do reviews, previews. We do discussion topics if there's some racy stuff going on in the industry. Yeah. Like we have this week. We actually have our first discussion topic of the year.
Yeah.
But no reviews and previews. We didn't really get time to do the XCOM stuff.
Yeah.
It was kind of a pretty hectic week. I mean, you were still recovering from being sick. There's other people in the household that are sick who shall remain nameless.
Yeah.
And then the baby, and now we're getting like a foot of snow.
Yeah.
So it's been a pretty busy week. Did you sneak any games in there?
I did. Most of the time, I had a console on. I was watching Netflix, as you know. I did manage to play a little bit of Guardian of Light, Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light, which is the second free Games for Gold this month, which I must say, I thought it was cool at first, but then I remembered that I got this for free on PlayStation Plus like a year or so ago, over a year ago. So, I mean, it's nothing new. So, I was playing through it, and I was like, wait a minute, I did this before. I was like, oh, wait, yeah, I had this on the PlayStation. And my PlayStation died over a year ago. So, and I had it way before that.
Well over a year.
Yeah,
ago.
well over a year ago.
Because we were using it as a background piece for the podcast when we started the podcast.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's safe to say that it's
not BioShock Infinite, right?
It's not BioShock Infinite.
Okay. I've mostly been playing Star Wars since it's free. Trying to save a little bit of money. And like I was telling you, the good parts of the game, like the Knights of the Old Republic parts of the game, are free. So I'll enjoy that for free. And then I did some more Batman Arkham Origins, just kind of trying to clean it up as I go along. Nothing major. Just I finished Penguin, and I'm almost finished with Black Mask. So
nice.
I think I've got like 3 more villains, including Black Mask. So that's not too bad. But otherwise, it's been a pretty slow week.
Yeah.
Not a lot of news, but there was one big story, which will be our discussion topic. So we'll save that one for the end. But Lightning Returns demo came out this week.
Yeah, I did download it. I will probably play it. To say something nice about Microsoft, lately I have noticed they've had some better deals. For that you can buy. Like last month, I got Eternal Sonata for like $3, between $3 or $4. This month they had Tales of Vesperia for under $5.
Wow, that's pretty good. They're pushing those JRPGs.
Yeah, they are. Final Fantasy 13-2 is like $6.
That wouldn't be bad. I never played 13-2 all the way, so that would be good. Leading into Lightning Returns, which is 13-3.
Yeah, Dark Souls under $5.
Wow, that's a lot of pain for under $5.
I know. So I saw the deals this week, or I was looking at them, and I was like, you know what, these are very tempting. Being under $5. They're decent games. I did like the demo for 13-2 more than I like Final Fantasy 13.
I've heard that 13-2, while it's still Final Fantasy 13, is a little more enjoyable because it's a little more condensed, so there's not as much filler, there's not as much, just random stuff here and there. But I've also heard complaints that 13.2 really doesn't push the storyline all that much. So, but Lightning Return looks interesting just because you're just Lightning, and apparently you just dress her up. It
Yeah.
seems like that's what the game is about.
Yeah, it's like all the costumes you can get if you pre-order here or pre-order there.
Yeah,
you
they
know.
showed like the Una costume comes from Amazon. You can get the Cloud costume for just pre-ordering it. There's like an Aerith costume if you buy the limited edition like guide.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like somewhere there has to be a game under
Yeah,
this. So I want to
somewhere.
see the demo. And it's cool that they put this out. It doesn't come out until I think it was like what February 11th or
yeah.
something, early February. So maybe 10th.
Mm-hmm.
So, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is free for PlayStation Plus members.
Yeah.
This is their answer to Guardian of Light. This was actually a lot of the Game of Year nominations.
Yeah, last year, a new game,
Right.
a new game. I did play a little bit of it, and I did like it. I like the article mentioned how it was kind of like Eco,
Right.
and it did have that feel to it. So it did seem like a very solid game. I never got
Now you control one brother with one stick and the
Mhm.
other brother with the other stick.
Yeah.
And there's like no fighting. It's all puzzles.
Yeah, it's all puzzles. Very odd world ish.
Right.
You're just going through and situational type puzzles where one brother has to do one thing for another. Maybe like push something or pull them up or pull a switch for them. It's really interesting. I liked it a lot. One part that I do remember was like, say there's say you go to an area and there's like a dog that'll attack you and like rip you to pieces. One brother has to go far enough to like distract the dog, like hey, like yell at the dog.
Yeah.
And then once the dog's preoccupied with one brother, you take the other brother and like sneak him by, and then like yell at the dog, throw a rock or whatever.
Oh, okay. That's
that type
pretty cool.
Yeah.
I may have to check that out. I mean, it's free for PlayStation
Mhm.
Plus members, so that's like one of the few monthly subscriptions I kept. I went through and I like wiped out like all our monthly subscriptions. Like I got rid of like Crunchyroll and like all the small stuff that we paid monthly for, like World of Warcraft, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just to save money is the big thing.
Yeah.
Because you never realize it's like, oh, it's only $8 a month. Oh, it's
Mhm.
only $15 a month, and then you look at it, it's like, wow, I'm spending like $60 a month
Mhm.
for all these services. So
Yeah.
when we could just steal your Netflix,
Yeah.
and watch Gamera.
Yeah, like Netflix probably is one of the best expenses.
Now that we've used yours, if you move or we move or
Mhm.
you cancel it, we'd probably pick it up.
Yeah. I mean, like $8 a month, you can virtually watch just about anything you want.
We got our money out of that Saturday morning when we watched 2 episodes of Mystery Science Theater 3000. So
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah. I love Netflix. I'm glad I got it back, and so
Me
it's
too.
amazing.
Me too.
Another story. The original creator of XCOM, his name is Julian Gollop.
hmm
He'll be launching a Kickstarter later this year, which is Chaos Reborn, I believe. It was one of his earlier games. He's updated it, and he's like control wizards and stuff like that.
Fight your friends, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Still turn-based strategy,
Mhm.
stuff like that. So still very XCOM-ish, just a little more fantasy than sci-fi.
Yeah.
It looked really cool, like the stuff they showed, like the pre-Kickstarter stuff. So is that something you think you might invest in?
I had to look more into it because, I was drawn to XCOM mainly because of the aliens.
Oh, okay.
So
It wasn't the gameplay that
It wasn't the
drew you in,
gameplay. It was
the
the aliens. Like I wanted a game where I can kill aliens, take them back, and like dissect them and stuff like that. I mean, it's the original XCOM. I mean, there's still a draw to it that the newer one it kind of has, but
Huh.
I love that original game. So.
Well, we'll see how this
Mhm.
goes. We'll save that story.
Okay.
For,
Nintendo.
Nintendo. This is a bad week for Nintendo.
Yeah.
They slashed their sales forecast for the Wii U by 70%. So they went from like 10 million down to like 2.8 million.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough.
Yeah, and they actually said that it sucks, obviously, and this is not a direct quote,
Mhm, yeah.
but they're not going to get out of the hardware race. They say they'll learn and move. And I read a lot into this because I'm like, wow, that big of a loss, you think they take a major hit. Well, apparently Nintendo has so much money in the bank that they can lose money like they're losing it now for 20 years before they would go out of business.
Wow.
Like they have like $10 billion saved up.
Wow.
So yeah,
I wish I had that many zeros in my bank account.
I know, easily. But yeah, so they're okay. The 3DS, did really well. It's still not quite where they want it to be because they had to cut the sales on that one, but it's much better. But yeah, the Wii U is hurting.
Yeah, I mean that stinks. Ideally I would like to own a Wii U one day for the novelty of it, but there's like in today's economy and the way things are, there's no urgency for one. Just like how there's still no urgency for me to get a PS4 or a Xbox One.
Right.
So why the heck would I need a Wii U? This is another cool story. Norwegian schools using teaching ethics with the Walking Dead game. The Telltales.
This is like really messed up. Like, how do you teach ethics from a game that has no moral standpoint? Like, there is no good or bad in Walking Dead. It's like, oh well, we can try to save this guy, then he dies, or we can crush his head with a block, or we can just argue about it. So
yeah, it's interesting. It reminds me, like, what's with was it another Norwegian school that used Minecraft to teach?
Actually, there's some American schools that are
really?
using
That's cool.
Minecraft in their curriculum because it's such a good like building simulator and stuff like that. I think gaming now it should come into schools. Obviously, not like Grand Theft Auto and stuff, but and Walking Dead's a little bit up there. But it's cool that it's an ethics course. But I think there's a lot of stuff in gaming that you can learn from, like the first like big gaming, I'd say, like research came into when World of Warcraft had a plague, and there was an unintended effect of while you had the plague. Normally, what it did is it affected your character. If somebody didn't cleanse you, you died after a certain amount of time. Like, you just took more and more damage until you died. So it was literally like a plague. What they didn't realize is if you got that and you teleported back to the city, it would still act like you were at the boss, so it would still jump other people. So there was this outbreak of this plague in all the major cities because, low-level characters have, next to no health. So as soon as they got it, they died. Instantly.
Nice.
And there was no way, if somebody had it next to you, there was no way to stop it. So there was this big outbreak, like you couldn't go into any of the major cities, like people would just die all around you. There was this like virtual plague, and they've done like researches and stuff on it, like virtual plague outbreaks and translated that to real world plague outbreaks, like how can we prevent this, stuff like that. So I think stuff like that in games is really cool. So when I read this in the ethics, I was like, that's pretty neat that they're using this game that has no moral standpoint. I mean, the first episode, you have to choose between who you let die.
Yeah.
One of them's going to die, so you have to choose. It's not like you could play the hero and save them both.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's pretty interesting. That plague story is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's still like one of my favorite video game moments because that was real early in World of Warcraft's career.
Okay.
That was probably like 2005 and maybe 2006. But I remember that because I experienced it. Like, you just didn't go in the main town. Like, if you made it out of the main town alive, you were like, whatever. I don't need the auction house. I don't need class trainers or whatever. I will find other ways.
Nice.
So like there was like probably like a week period before they patched it.
Wow.
Because this is back, maybe it might have even been longer than that. Because this is back before they had like the infrastructure where they could throw out like hot fixes and stuff. Like they had to bring all the servers down. Do like a 8-hour patch, stuff like that.
Wow.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. So
that is neat.
Disney Infinity, Skylanders for Disney people, has sold 3 million starter packs, thus keeping up with Skylanders itself. So that's good news. I mean, competition in any market is good news. So
yeah, I knew that Disney Infinity was going to do well. I know it's only going to get better the more they expand on it and everything. You know, with all the properties or the intellectual properties that they have. So
Star Wars, Marvel, and all that. Speaking of Star Wars for Disney, they dropped the one Star Wars game I was really excited about. They kind of announced earlier this year that Star Wars 1313 was, kind of being dropped when they switched over from LucasArts to Disney. But now they let the trademark lapse, so basically that game is dead. It's gone.
The game is dead. Hopefully, like, parts of it will survive and do another type of game, later on down the line. But for now,
so now we gotta wait for Battlefront.
Yeah, Battlefront, which I am excited about.
True.
So the Fable trilogy is going to be coming out on the 360.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, Fable Anniversary is set to hit early September. Is that a month?
It's a new month.
There's a baby crying behind us. So I'm like, I want to fix the baby, but I want to do the show. So I'm making up months now.
September.
So in early February, Fable Anniversary, which is the HD rehaul of Fables and Fable Lost Chapter, will be coming out. They're also on the marketplace going to do a trilogy pack. They did warn, though, if you have Fable 2 or Fable 3 on your account, don't buy the trilogy pack because you're going to get charged full price and you're not going to get an extra code. So
yeah, just buy Fable 1.
Yeah, just buy the Anniversary. Like, I'm actually probably going to pick up the Anniversary Edition because I never played Lost Chapters, and Fable, the first Fable, was probably one of my favorite games. So
not bad. Let's see, Tomb Raider. I was playing Tomb Raider earlier. The Tomb Raider sales for the reboot broke even by the end of 2013. Like I'm never gonna get Square Enix and how they just aren't happy or they aren't satisfied with anything.
Yeah,
selling 4 million units worldwide and. They are finally making profit on it. By the end of 2013, I just they aren't happy.
They're definitely the over eager Asian parent meme.
Yeah,
like oh, you sold millions of copies. Are you a doctor yet?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, well, this was strictly from a money standpoint. They said that now they're making money off of Tomb Raider, which is good, but maybe they put a little more money into it than they should.
Yeah.
So
that's what I was thinking when they did it. Well, maybe next time they won't, spend so much. And I think next month the definitive edition is going to be coming out for the next gen consoles.
Have you seen the screenshots for that?
If it's anything like the PC graphics,
it's
gonna
better.
Be okay, that's awesome.
That's the thing. Like. There's a comparison of the three, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's good. And then it's like PC, it's like, wow, that's a big difference. And then it's like definitive, and you're like, whoa, this is like a whole different game. Like her hair has its own physics.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, if I did get a next gen console, I would probably pick up the definitive edition for Tomb Raider for it because it looked amazing. I love the story. I love the gameplay. I'd like to experience it again on with the better visuals.
Yeah.
And the multiplayer was fun enough that maybe with the nicer graphics I might play a little bit more. With my Redbox rental, I only had the game for like 3 days.
But you 100%ed it.
Yeah, I did.
So I don't know. I could see getting it, especially if it's not 60. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Now that they fixed the graphics on PC, I kind of wish I would have played it on PC, but I did the same thing. I Redboxed it, and then basically it's a this bow is overpowered simulator.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Speaking of, next month, also Bethesda and 2K Games will be teaming up for some Valentine's Day style bundles.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. They actually had Claptrap, like he's a real person. They had Claptrap from Borderlands right 2K Games a love letter.
Nice.
And it was pretty funny how much he loved Dishonored and stuff. And he was like, Dishonored, a.k.a. the best fish possessing simulator that there is.
Nice.
So, but yeah, they're teaming up for 2 bundles. It's going to be Borderlands 2 and Dishonored.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one was what?
Bioshock Infinite and Skyrim.
Skyrim. So
Yeah.
that's those are great bundles. They're going to be $30 each for Valentine's Day. I imagine that it's just the base games. It's not going to be Game of the Year.
Yeah, the base games, no DLC or anything like that.
Which kind of sucks for Skyrim and Borderlands, because Borderlands has so much DLC.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to have Borderlands 2 Game of the Second Year Edition, where it has like all the next DLC.
Maybe. It would make sense. That would be kind of cool and neat. HBO Go app is going to be coming to both PlayStation soon.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people have been asking for this. PlayStation has a lot of video apps, and it's already on the Xbox. So people have been flocking to HBO Go because they don't have to pay for HBO for their cable provider, and it's a little cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only difference is like shows show up like a day later. Like you can't watch Game of Thrones live; you have to wait a day. I may be wrong on that, but that's how it used to be.
Okay.
So, but that's cool that it's coming there.
Yeah, and this next story we got here, Ubisoft working on the next gen Tetris.
Next gen Tetris. Do you have any idea what that consists of?
I was trying to think of it. Some of the comments were pretty funny.
Yeah.
Some of the comments were pretty funny. Yeah.
I remember Tetris Spear for N64, where it was like, you had 3D, like you had to turn it and fit the stuff in.
Oh yeah.
So
I do remember
that was cool, but it's not like they said it was Tetris Spear, but that wasn't really Tetris to me. Tetris to me is like, a long thought out, planning, and then boom, you hit the Tetris, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Shiny graphics, maybe. Head-to-head mode.
Yeah.
Russian music.
Throw the online stuff on there, but I did like the social media updates that people mentioned, and there's another really funny one, but I forget.
See, I always like Tetris. That I have this picture. I actually have it up at work. I printed it out and hung it up. I haven't hung it up since I moved, but it's a great life lesson from Tetris, and it says, "Life is a lot like Tetris. Your accomplishments are easily forgotten, and mistakes pile up quickly."
Nice. Nice.
And I was like, it's true, and it's nerdy, so
yeah,
I printed it out, and I haven't hung it up in my new office because I don't have a cork board anymore.
Another one of the funny ones was microtransactions.
Yeah. Would you like to purchase this straight block?
Yeah, that would be so funny.
All right, so the big news story of the week, and we'll talk about this. This will be our discussion topic. Microsoft kind of let it slip that they were paying YouTubers for product placement. Popular YouTube channels like Machinima, and there were a couple other that they were sketchy on, but Machinima was the one that got caught. And pretty much Microsoft was paying these channels, $3 for every 1,000 views that they had positive Xbox One reviews, or they said something good about it, stuff like that. They had like a whole term.
Yeah.
And, it was like a promotion that they said to these YouTube channels. Now, product placement isn't anything new.
Yeah.
The whole thing that gets me is the positive thing.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't giving it out just for, talk about the Xbox One. That whatever. Any media source ever has done that.
Exactly, yeah.
And YouTubers, I think, are a little different in the fact that if somebody's paying them to talk about something, they should probably say that somebody's paying them to talk about it. Now, whether it's good or bad, whatever, that's up to them.
Mm-hmm.
But they should at least mention that, hey, Microsoft threw me some money to talk about this, because they have to do that on commercials now.
Yeah.
Like, if a star says, I only use, Dentine dental floss, they have to only use Dentine dental floss.
Mm-hmm.
Like, otherwise they can be sued. So,
yeah.
What do you think about it?
I just, there's like an air, it just feels dishonest in a way. Like I'm used to there being sponsorships and stuff for YouTube because like before besides video game videos that I watch on YouTube, I watch a lot of like filmmaking stuff, like
Right.
filmmakers tips and stuff like that, and they have sponsors,
Right.
like they'll have like Netflix. They'll flat out say this video is brought to you by Netflix or Squarespace, and they'll have
Right.
like in the middle of the video, maybe they'll have like a little ad, or like they'll make their own they'll film their own little commercials and stuff
Right.
for Netflix, and Netflix, you can do this and that. Like I know it's an ad. I know they are benefiting some way from having their Netflix ad in the middle for their YouTube videos.
Right.
But it just seems a little deceptive when you know that I played like the Xbox One's really awesome. You now that they're saying that, you kind of it just gives that air of dishonesty. Like it doesn't seem as genuine anymore when
Right.
these people are saying nice things about the Xbox or the Xbox One. So I'm like, because most like I ran the numbers in my head really quick. A lot of the YouTubers that I do watch that are owned under the Machinima umbrella, they average like even like the below average YouTubers, they have each video is about 60,000 views. So if that breaks down, like a day after it comes out, that's like $150 per video.
Right.
So there, and some of these YouTubers they started posting like multiple days a week just so they can get their money. It's like so that's like $150 a day,
Easily.
just to do their video. And like,
And those are the small ones.
Yeah,
Like
those are the
there
small
are
ones, yeah.
Machinima channels that get millions of views
Mhm.
per video.
yeah,
So-
so it's like, geez, like what the max is like 3,750 per video.
Yeah.
So I mean, come on, it just seems.
It seems like Microsoft's starting like I'm excited that a company has finally realized that YouTube is not the bad guy.
Mhm.
YouTube can be the good guy.
It is influential, say I want a camera or something, to use any type of software, just to look it up, or a lens.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go to YouTube just to look at videos that were shot with that particular lens. I'll listen to what everybody says about that camera. Or like the other day when I was listening to people's videos about the microphone I wanted to buy.
Right.
Like YouTube is really influential. I just, if I knew that people were saying good things about a lens or a camera just because they're being paid to, I would feel a little deceived if I went out and
Right.
bought that, especially if it was crappy.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the downside to
Mhm.
this is I think a little more honesty would have been better.
Mhm.
Like I said, product placement is nothing new. Like
Nope.
most actual podcasts that are under a network have sponsors like that, and they say,
Mhm.
this podcast is sponsored by Audible. Go to Audible and get your free book. We're not sponsored by Audible, but I
No.
guess I just gave them a free commercial. You owe me money, Audible. But stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was like, this podcast is brought to you by PlayStation. Go buy a PlayStation 4 because PlayStation Plus is the best thing. And then, we did our normal spiel about how good PlayStation
Yeah,
Plus was.
yeah.
You'd be like, that's not right. PlayStation Plus is awesome, and we're not
Yeah.
being paid in any way by
No,
PlayStation.
we're not.
So,
We
or
wish.
anybody.
It would have been nice, but
Yeah, I think a little more honesty would have
Yeah,
been better.
it's-
So we'll see how this plays out, because obviously now that this is out, they're gonna have to start making some rules on this. Like I hate to say it, it's gonna be like college football. It's gonna be, if you take money from these guys, you gotta let them know,
Mhm.
and you're gonna get in trouble if you're only giving positive reviews from the company you're taking money from.
Yeah,
So
it's fair. It seems fair.
right, and this coming right after that whole content ID thing is a little fishy. So, well,
Yeah, it's true.
YouTube's definitely, like I said, YouTube can be the good guy for these companies. I think they just have to do it the right way.
Yeah, definitely,
So,
definitely.
all right, well, I think that's pretty much going to do it for us tonight. We don't have any reviews. We don't have any previews. We do have a deal of the week. I reviewed Assassin's Creed 4, I guess 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Gave it a really good score. You can actually pick it up right now for $29.99. almost half off at GameStop, and that's new. That's not a used price.
Nice.
For any system, like PS3, PS4, Windows.
That's nice.
Whatever. So it's just a sale. So yeah, definitely pick that up if you haven't played it, because that was like my surprise hit of last year. Like I got it for free with some computer hardware. Downloaded it just because I was like, hey, it's a free AAA game.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? And I expected to play it like, Assassin's Creed 3, where I played it for a while. I was like, all right, this is kind of boring. But it turned out to be like an amazing game. So, check that out.
Nice.
We are gonna do Minecraft after the show. We'll give it a shot.
All right.
See how that goes. We're still gonna do the Starbound videos. My plan going forward would probably be maybe to alternate them.
Okay. Yeah.
Because obviously when we usually play for an hour, which is 3 shows. So, I could always alternate them. Or if they start to pile up, I'll start putting them out on different days. But it's a good game to get into. You've watched a lot of Let's Plays of Minecraft. So you're going to be like, check this house. And boom, it's going to be like King's Landing. And I'll be like, I've got a hut.
We'll see about that.
I've got a stick. So we are going to do that. So if you want to watch that, stay tuned. We'll probably pick that up in about 10-15 minutes. Once I get everything set up, we'll get settled in, take a little bit of break, and then we'll start it.
Cool.
So otherwise, peace.
See ya.
Gamers Digest is a Spider One and Mr. Factastic production. All characters and games are owned by their respective companies and are used under the Fair Use Law. Check out Gamers Digest at gamersdigest.me, on YouTube under Gamers Digest Podcast, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at The Gamers Digest. Viewer questions and comments can always be sent to gamersdigestpodcast@gmail.com. See you next week.